Video's fired up. Let's get this podcast rolling. I'm just going to monitor the vocals for a bit and then unplug the headphones. So.
Yeah, totally.
I'll live intro you in. It's Chrisman, right?
Yes.
Just pronunciation.
Yes.
And Academy of Skiing.
Yes.
All right, sweet. This is what on YouTube. All right, good day, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Live the Fuel show. So today I am recording back at Thrive Make Money Matter 2017. We're recording this live in the Networking Lounge here in Las Vegas at the Hard Rock Casino and Resort and Giant Pool and everything else going on here. But pretty cool, guys. I actually got to connect yet again with another new Thrive Triber. There's been over 17 different shows and episodes and co-hosts already from last year's event, and so I just can't wait to keep growing the new connections. Like today, this gentleman, we just started casually chatting because we got networked through somebody else and found out we have a lot more in common than I realized. But I'll give you guys a little bit of a skinny on this guy, and then obviously we'll get to know more together because I just met him literally today a few hours ago. So this guy resides in one of my favorite areas of Colorado, Crested Butte. And if you're a skier or a snowboarder or a mountain biker, it's the holy land of just the beauty of Colorado. But this gentleman actually has been doing a little ski racing over his years, and for some of you guys who've
Live the Fuel's awesome!
There he is. That's Michael O'Neill, a solopreneur out. And anyway, so long story short, this guy grew up ski racing, so he knows his way around the two-plank life. And he's doing something else with his new brand, which is called Academy of Skiing. So we're going to get into this today. So without further ado, let's welcome to the show our newest co-host, Scot Chrisman. Welcome, sir. I love the first name.
I love yours as well, man.
So welcome, man. Now, how many podcasts have you ever been on?
This is actually my first.
This is what I love, man. We are just popping the cherries of so many people. A lot of people have never been on podcasts before, so I'd love to help bring that about and bring a change. So I wanted to get you on the show because you're just doing things that are different. And that's going to be, we'll get more on that today, but obviously we're here to Thrive, man. We just finished. I want to get this on the recording now while it's still fresh and we're passionate. We just finished a powerful session at the end of Saturday, and it's, dude, I don't even know how to describe what we just did. We did it last year. You weren't here last year, but I've done the thumbprint thing. What did you think about this? What did it mean to you? Help our listeners understand why you're a little emotional right now.
Oh, so many reasons why I am so emotional right now. Cole Hatter, the founder of Thrive, just told a story about living on borrowed time, having a car accident, losing one of his best friends, and then 66 days later losing his other best friend, and losing people. Being a professional big mountain skier and an extreme sports athlete is something that I'm very familiar with.
Yeah, man, these aren't easy sports. Being an adrenaline junkie does not always bring safety.
No, it doesn't. And there's a reason why we do it, and it's not because we're seeking to defy death or we're seeking to make, we're seeking to laugh in death's face or anything like that. It's just that is where we're comfortable, and that's where we find passion. And, man, so many things hit home from what just happened. Cole just had us put our thumbprint on a poster board that had different words on it, but they all pretty much mean similar things. Gift,
Some gift, yeah, exactly.
Purpose.
Legacy, purpose, yeah.
And basically just committed, signed with my thumbprint, that I am going to help make a purpose-driven business, which Academy of Skiing is one of them, but make an impact on this world and help make this world a better place in the name of Steve and Matt, his two best friends that passed away, for me as well, the number of friends that I've lost, whatever the situation is.
Yeah, we talk about this right now because you kind of said, hey, they got to chill earlier, and as you just said this, like I feel, just for our listeners, guys, like I'm wearing like a full suit on, and I actually have a full chill. I can feel my hair standing up on my arms because part of the backstory behind Cole creating Make Money Matter was in their memory and helping us realize that there is something about our lives, like as you fast forward your life years from now, like what is the legacy you are leaving behind? What is the imprint you're leaving on this earth? Is it positive? Is it negative? And dude, he lost his boys at 21 years of age, man. Like your whole life is ahead of you. You're still an adolescent, but hey, man, you're legal to drink, whatever you do. That's just one of the check boxes. But let's be real, we all go out and have a good time.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man, you're just entering your adult years, and man, that's just that trifecta, that brotherhood that they had together, and he lost it. And now it's him creating a legacy, so to speak, in their names. It's pretty powerful. And so you connected on this to a certain point too, because you've also lost friends, right? Is this really? I was hearing this earlier. That's why I wanted to get this out before we forgot.
Yeah, so when I was 13, I was at a ski race in Vail, Colorado, and there was a girl that I had been to the Olympic Training Center with for training camp, off-season dryland training camp. There were about 30 of us there, and I just found her to be an amazing soul, one of those people who just brings light to the world wherever she went, and who wasn't in it for the ego at that age. Being at the Olympic Training Center is really easy for a lot of us to let our ego get away from us and think that we were amazing, think that we were hot shit, and she was just one of those people that was humble and there in the moment and there to spread joy and there for others instead of being there for herself. And I developed a crush on her, and
Sounds like it, man.
I wanted to tell her at this ski race, and I actually witnessed her get hit by a snowmobile.
Crazy. And was she on a training run, or was she?
Yeah, it was before inspection. For those that don't know about ski racing, you inspect the course before you
go down
run
with your
it.
coaches. You check out all the gates. Was this a slalom or GS?
It was a slalom race,
Right.
and she ended up passing away. And I never had the opportunity to express to her how I felt, and let alone even get to know her more or better. And man, I didn't ever realize that how much it affected me until recently, having talked about it with a couple other people, and now it's been something that's been a topic that's been on my mind and something that I realized I still needed to process.
And then you hear a backstory like this today, and it's like, whoa, okay, hit it again.
Yeah, totally. And then 6 months after that, I was the first person on the scene to an accident where at Mount Hood, Oregon, which is a summer training place.
Oh
for
yeah,
ski
we used to
racing.
send some of our athletes out there. Yep.
And I was the first person on an accident. A kid skied too close to the rocks blown up the snow around the rocks, it gets slushy, ski sunk in, he flew into the rocks, he passed away.
Double ejection.
Yeah. After.
For our listeners, that's basically your skis stop and you keep going, and your boots will literally double eject, and it's like a freaking springboard, man. Yeah.
And he ended up passing away after a life flight. And then, fast forward, a kid that I grew up ski racing with, Tony Seibert, he was the child of one of the founders of Vail Resorts, passed away in an avalanche.
That's crazy.
And then one of my
Wait. What year was that? I was there.
2013,
Yeah,
2014.
no, I remember. I was the day the avalanche, they closed out Basin. They closed down access out there because we go skiing out there in Vail every year.
Yep.
And I remember we were getting our ride back to the airport, and they had already closed it, and then they had made the announcement that he had passed away.
Yep.
We were like, dude, like you're the part of freaking Vail. I mean, for listeners, guys, if you're not a skier, like Vail Corporation owns a lot of mountains, and this dude knew his stuff. And this isn't the first time I've heard this too, because it's not just that story, but just to connect with you. I had mountaineer buddies who I lived in Colorado, dude. They were all mountaineering guys. Like, they took me on my first backcountry ski trip. They didn't mess around. Like, we were, Abbey beacons, like lots of training, taking your time, being extra safe. But even the best guys, I remember a couple years later, one of the dudes I met on that trip, that guy passed away in, I think it might have been Utah in an avalanche. And that guy was a pro. Like, he trained other people how to do it.
Yeah.
So this is what it's kind of a wake-up call. It's like, guys, like, life happens. We can't plan for these things, dude. Like, that's why I tell people all the time, like, dude, I can get hit by a car tomorrow. That's why I live the life I do. It sounds like that's why you live. Like, you and I have some similarities on the adrenaline junkie lifestyle, and it's not just because we're trying to get some bragging rights. It's we're living our life. And what I'm hearing from you is that girl that you clearly had deeper feelings for, your other buddies you've lost. It's like, you know what are we doing with our lives? Okay, what are we going to do? Like coming here to this event, Thrive, Make Money Matter. It's like, okay, well, we obviously do need to make money to survive, but what are we going to do along that path? What are we going to do along the way? What is the legacy you're leaving behind? And is that part of the fuel behind the fire, so to speak, going into your academy, the ski project, everything?
Yeah, definitely. Academy of Skiing for me, it's multifaceted. A lot of it, skiing, number one, skiing is my passion and it's what I know the best in life.
Okay.
So I might as well start a business surrounding what I know best.
There you go.
Number two, to inspire others to get out, and especially people who wouldn't normally be able to enjoy the mountain because of lack of knowledge. There's definitely a huge gap in learning, not having any information about learning how to ski and becoming like a local.
Yeah, you and I joked around earlier about, like, I'm a USS. Obviously, you and I both have USSA education. USSA, for our listeners, guys, is a certified body for professional ski race coaching, training, protocols, etc. And then in the regular non-race world, you have the PSAA here in the U.S., which is the Professional Ski Instructors Association. I've always said for years they should have been merged in the same. That way, we're on the same page. Whole different podcast, but. Long story short, PSA very book and verbiage intense, and USSA actually applies skill sets that actually can be used on the race course and for traditional basic all-mountain skiing. But even whether we have one favorite or the other, we joked around this earlier, but it's like there's always room to improve. And that's what we learned today from so many world-class entrepreneurs speaking here. Like, dude, the last guy, freaking billionaire. He's like, dude, you got to go after the big stuff. You got to set the big goals. You can't be going after the small time stuff. So what are we doing to set those big goals and get after the big initiatives? Because it's going to be the ones that freak us out the most. But this project you're launching, it could go big if you do it right.
Yeah, definitely. I actually just heard 2 minutes ago that my podcast, I'm going to have an Olympic gold medalist on it.
You get him on?
David Wise.
Oh, yeah?
Olympic half.
So when did you get that update?
Literally 5 minutes ago when I was going to the bathroom.
Okay.
He messaged me and told me that he was down.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, big things are happening. But yeah, I'd love to shake up the ski industry a little bit. And, the thing about skiing right now is the professionals, the people at the top of the sport, like David Wise, like Lexi DuPont, like Ian McIntosh, people that I know well and hold very dearly, is the tourists that support the meat and potatoes of the skiing economy don't have any ambition or desire to do what me or Lexi or David or Ian do necessarily. It's
you're the rare one percentile, so to speak, in the sport. Yeah.
Totally. And I'd love to figure out a way, or I am figuring out a way, to bridge the gap so that their knowledge can still impact the tourists.
Sure.
And giving the tourists an ability to go out and enjoy the sport, because it's such a beautiful sport. You get to push your limits.
Yep.
You get to push your boundaries. You get to be out in nature and appreciate places and things that most people never get to.
I agree. Majestic, outdoor. If you're an outdoorsy nut, I mean, just majestic scenery. I mean, mountains that you've never skied before. You and I were just chatting about my wedding plans. We're talking about hitting, Revelstoke and just like I've never skied in Canada, but again, being in the race circuit, you get to go around and hit some of these rare mountains. And again, our listeners, guys, being a race athlete, let's be real, it is not a hugely financially successful position. If you do well and you get sponsorship, that helps. But a lot of pro athletes are kind of paying their own way, so to speak. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. As far as the U.S. ski team goes and racing, you pay your own way if you're on the D team or the C team. If you're on the B team, you're pretty much breaking even. And if you're on the A team, you might be making some money. Some money, if you're lucky. Lindsey Vonn, Michaela Schifrin, people like that probably are making. Lindsey Vonn has turned her success and gone to social media and used that currency to then increase her economic value.
Okay.
But for the most part, most of these skiers are not making that much money.
I agree. And I think you brought a very valuable point here, is that, and I love the fact you use the word academy, because academy can apply to the professional sports world. It can also apply to just the regular, like you said, the regular everyday skier who does pay the bills, so to speak, right? Like, they're the ones who keep the doors open on the ski mountains. They're the ones who pay, if you go to Vail, $150, $60 a day now to freaking ski. Crazy. That's why I buy the Epic Pass every year. There's your life hack, ladies and gentlemen. If you ever go to Colorado and you want to go ski Vail, do not pay the regular retail rate. Just buy the $500 pass, and you can go as many times as you need to.
And plan it out, because they stop selling it sometime in November, as far as
Yes,
I know.
like we buy ours as soon as it gets released.
Yep.
I put my $50 deposit on, and they just billed me actually like 2 weeks ago for it. So yeah,
Yep.
it's not our first rodeo.
Totally.
But I think we could tie this back to the fact that being a pro athlete, it totally starts building you the mental fortitude, the mindset to start bulletproofing your, not just your sport and your skill set, but also you can carry those same traits, those same learning practices into the entrepreneurial ways. It takes time, it's not turnkey, but you have the right fundamentals, because you have to put in the reps, you have to put in the work, you have to be able to defeat the negative mindset days and get things more positive. So yeah, it's like when you're not having a good training week, you're going to have that in a business. Again, our speakers tonight, we talk about the curve, right? The ups and downs. Again, the billionaire. We talk about ups and downs. He's like, dude, you can't get cocky, because that one day you're up, the next day you're down.
Yeah,
so
totally. And you can't get depressed when you're down, because the only place you can go from there is up.
Right. And again, back to our earlier passionate, emotional conversation, like, dude, again, Cole's story is just freaking nuts, but he talks about how deep the depression hit him.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, doing pills and alcohol and stuff just to numb himself so he didn't have to deal with it. But then eventually he had to dig himself out, because he realized, like, dude, I actually survived, whereas my friends didn't. What am I going to do with that? You know, they don't have anything beyond that 21 years, right? What are we doing in their name, their legacy? You know, you can't basically flush your life down the shitter, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, you can. You have that choice.
Oh, yeah, people do it all the time.
You have that choice.
Yeah.
But it would be a disservice and a dishonor to the people who have passed before us to fall into a pattern like that.
Well, let's be real. I mean, for you, dude, I mean, this isn't going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time, right? Totally. So I think that's the other thing, is going back to my point earlier, is like, make sure we are setting realistic examples. That's why when I ran into you earlier and I started vibing, I'm like, dude, let's just do a podcast ASAP. Let's not miss the opportunity, because there's going to be some good energy. And we already had energy earlier. Oh, yeah. So it was fired up energy earlier. And then we got some emotional, like, vulnerability energy that came out of the end of Saturday night here, which is just awesome. It's just, there's so much going on in my mind. I mean, is your brain still racing?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm thinking about a couple other experiences that I've had. I lost my best friend a year and a half ago. Jordan Niedrich passed away in a speed flying accident. And
is that where you get the wingsuit?
No, so it's you're skiing, but you have a
you have the chute. Oh, yeah. I forgot the name of that. So that's speed
flying.
Speed flying.
Or speed riding.
But they don't mention the word skiing in that branding.
No.
Weird.
I mean, it's a pretty small sport, speed riding.
I always called it paraskiing.
Yeah, well, it's slightly different. So
because you have a sail, basically.
Yep, paraskiing is with a paraglider. So the paraglider is more of a full-sized wing where you can catch thermals and go up.
Right.
Speed wing is very high speed.
Yeah, you're basically like clearing from one mountain ridge to the next mountain ridge. Like I watched the videos.
Yeah, totally.
Big Red Bull fan.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not, again, to our listeners, guys, like we're talking about this like it's super fun, and like some people are like, you're freaking nuts. So I mean, hell, there's people probably in your life that thought you were nuts going onto a race course hauling ass between race gates. it's not for everybody. That's cool. So, but what are you going to do with that energy? I mean, the cool thing about you is that you've built some professional exposure. You built some of the networking. You're starting to bring in some big names. So, what are you going to do entrepreneurial? Hey, great. I'm going to figure out something, man. I'm going to start building this academy project. Maybe I can actually finally change the industry to a positive transition. I'm excited by it. I think that's why I was like, dude, I'll be here. If you can figure that out, I was like, I'll be an ambassador. I'll promote the hell out of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what is your primary demographic then? You're really trying to target the regular everyday skiers, tourists, like just trying to help them find the right education?
Yeah, I mean, I really want to help people who are just getting into the sport and make it something that is enjoyable, because you get the wrong ski boots, you're wearing jeans, you know,
Oh
you
God,
do
the blue jean skier, I call that Jersey skiing. I was born in Jersey,
Yep,
so I'm
totally.
like, no, dude. I did that one time when I was 18, never did it again. Yeah, I mean, some of you guys, you listen, maybe you do blue jean skiing, go for it. Not really that enjoyable.
Yeah, it's not recommended, and it can make it less enjoyable if you have the perseverance to still make it fun while you're cold and while your legs are wet.
A perfect client is an example. I just flew in from a wedding last night in Syracuse, New York. So one of our girlfriends was there. Her name was Nathalia. Grew up in Colombia. Never skied ever. We took her skiing last year, and my fiance grew up ski racing, so she knows how to. She can help her. And she gave her mother's pair of boots, and they just suck. Like, it's the kind of pair of boots where it's like you are in hell on earth.
Oh yeah.
And that's what she skied with, and we said, all right, don't judge skiing by that. Clearly, that's not a pair of boots for you to try.
Totally.
And I told her this year, I was like, listen, go to a shop. A lot of shops you can rent boots for the season. I was like, if you want to spend any money anywhere, we'll hook you up with some skis. Just focus on good boots.
Totally. Bless you.
Excuse me. So, I mean, and again, there's a little life hack for you guys. If you're trying to get into skiing, there's one of your lessons that you can be getting through the Academy of Skiing. It's like, guys, boots are like everything.
Everything.
I could ski with no poles.
Totally.
Boots are everything.
Yep.
Actually, we always ski with no poles because you got to carry race gate bundles on your shoulders. And what the hell you need poles for?
Right.
So,
You got to wrench gates into the hill. And
well, and then they switched over to brush tips. Now you don't have to wrench them anymore.
I did not know that.
You haven't seen that?
It's been a while for me.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
all right. I'm up on you a little bit on this one. Whoa.
A little bit. I
Okay.
ran away from the ski racing industry and went towards freestyle and free ride because I was a little bit rebellious, and now
Okay.
I'm trying to round myself down a little bit.
I got you.
I was getting a little sharp around the edges.
So where's the Academy of Skiing at now? And obviously academyofskiing.com, and we'll have all the stuff linked in the show notes. I know you already have. I already like the Academy of Skiing on the Facebook page. So what is your target demographic right now? Like, where are you at in your current build-up phase? Is it building brand awareness and then building the training culture and design, or where are you at right now?
So a lot of it is I have a lot of content created, and a lot of it is in Word form.
Okay.
And so a lot of it is going to be converting that to video form.
Yep.
I do have a lot of video shot as well. The only product that I have for sale right now is an off-season training program that I developed with my personal trainer.
Wait a minute, you mean people should be doing dryland training? I think we talked about that earlier too.
We did.
I can't stand it when an athlete comes into the season and they haven't done any dryland training. Like, dude, fitness is year round.
Yeah.
So what could you be doing? I'm going to guess. Is there any lunging involved in this?
There is lots of lunging.
Very good.
Yep.
Yes.
Lunging.
Squats, lunges. Your legs are everything, dude. Legs are everything in that sport.
Totally. One thing that my personal trainer and I really focus on is linking the chains of muscles, so having it be really full body, and that's especially developed for me because I'm trying to do flips in the air and grabs and,
Yep.
be able to spin and contort my body at the same time and spot a landing and everything. So for me, it's
Yeah, you got more balls than I got on that one. I'm not the aerial guy. I love going fast, but I do not do the flipping and the crazy jumping. So all you. But you're right. You have that takes a sense of body awareness, body control, knowing that. I mean, I'm sure you guys probably train the foam pits and stuff where you can crash into them.
Yep.
So, but just because you have a foam pit doesn't mean that's going to teach you everything. You still have to have the body awareness to know where you're at in the spin, where you're at in the flip. That takes physical conditioning, strengthening.
Yeah.
So
Totally. And a mind-body connection and a neurological awareness of where you are in space.
okay, and is that some of that you get into in some of that off-season training, or is that going to be more the advanced level stuff that you're going to build out?
So we have The program has 24 different workouts.
Okay.
So you could walk into it without really having any sort of fitness background. I have a free training that describes 3 movements that I think are really important: learning how to plank, learning how to squat, and learning how to deadlift.
Nice. And that's
So-
already on the website.
It's already on the website.
Sweet.
Those 3 are really important. Just in, functional fitness is a buzzword right now. Some
Oh,
people
yeah.
freak out
I'm
about.
a CrossFitter, everybody. Yeah.
But really, in the end, it's being able to use your body for what you want to use it for.
Sure.
And a lot of, in skiing, you're not going to get away from using your core and your legs in 2 different ways.
Oh, you can. It's just not going to go well.
Yeah, okay.
Especially if you're trying to ski big mountains out west, right? I mean, that's the other thing. I joke around because we have the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania. So our runs, you're basically on the lift a lot because it's like, boom, 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 you're just gone.
Yep.
Out west, dude, you're dealing with, go to Breckenridge, you're at 12,000 feet.
Yep.
Let alone the altitude training. You're dealing with the fact that, hey, you guys got to start focusing on, you're going to be on the mountain for like at least an hour, like average run, at least. So depending on your skill level, depending on the conditions, the visibility, the amount of snow that day, the amount of other tourists around you, et cetera, et cetera. So now the whole goal of your master plan is this platform is going to be all virtual. So that means you can get through to anybody, anywhere, any place of the world, really, not just the country.
Yeah, definitely, and it's scalable within the business. For if you start to have a passion for skiing and you want to get better and you want to get better at park racing or big mountain, and you have someone that's willing to film you, you can send me video. I'll
sweet.
Edit it down. We'll connect for a Skype call.
Because then you can do reviews on the video content.
Exactly.
See, again, this came right out of the academy. I mean, when we were coaching our kids, actually the last couple years before I stepped down, I was like, dude, we got to get the video out there more, man, because they got to see what we're talking about. They got to see what we're doing. And that's all it is. Like, these people don't know what they're doing. They got like, guys, watch what you're doing. Here's the video. So we started going out there and just standing with the camcorders, man, and videoing all that. So
yeah, totally. I went to a ski academy in Salt Lake City called Rowmark, and we had a short bus that we would take up to Park City.
Nice.
And we had a TV in the front. And so we'd go up, we'd set the course, we'd get about 6 runs, we'd pull the course, then we'd go, and on the way down from Park City to Salt Lake, we would review video. We'd each get 2 runs
there you
of
go,
video.
maximize your time, and yeah,
Exactly.
you're already in the vehicle anyway. You can sit there and just jerk each other off or yell at each other or whatever. But say, hey, we're here for training.
Yep.
Let's maximize as much review time as you can on that way back. Okay, here's what you're gonna do. 1 or 2 things work on the next run. Boom, done.
Totally. And one of the things that you don't realize is having an outside perspective of what you're doing is really powerful. Because if one of the big things in ski racing and in skiing in general is having your hands up. Sometimes you feel like your hands are right in front of your eyes.
Yeah.
And they're at a 40.
They're right down at your hip.
Yeah.
Yep.
Totally.
I can't tell you how many times when you yell, hands up, hands up. I was like, if you can't see your hands with your goggles on, your hands are too low.
Totally.
Like your hands are out here. It's weird too, man, because but when you're in a course in an aggressive race attack position, it's your hands should be there, because especially if you're pulling. Again, to our listeners, you picture taking your ski pole, tucking it up under your armpit. If you're in a full tuck, on a course, for example, your hands are way the hell in front of you. But the point is like a lot of people, they're lackadaisical, they get lazy in the course. Man, you can be dropping into a corner and maybe you're dragging knuckles on one hand, whereas the other one's fine. It's very common.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But it's really easy to convince yourself and think that the 1-inch adjustment that you made was a 6-inch adjustment. Having video proof will tell all.
Oh yeah, you can't argue that. Like, oh no, I didn't do that. Really? Well, no. Let me rewind this spot. What does that look like?
Totally.
And then like, oh man, you got me. I did not realize it. And
Totally.
Yeah, it's very helpful. Well, that's awesome, man. That you actually can do that as a service. So, because not everybody has a ski race coach or an instructor in their back pocket. Totally. So if that's something like, hey, nowadays everybody doing GoPro. Great, I got all this GoPro footage. I can just upload it to you. You can chunk it all down. So, all right, man, let's just do a follow-up call. We'll break down your first 2 runs, and see what kind of critiques we can pull out of it. Maybe a couple of lessons. That's what I'm getting out of this, right?
Yeah, totally. I wouldn't use GoPro footage from a point of view standpoint. POV.
No, you need somebody GoProing somebody else.
Exactly.
Right.
But
yeah.
as long as you have a friend, a partner, a mom, a dad,
Yeah.
someone who's out there willing to film you, then.
Or if you're out with your boys or girls, whatever. But it's like, dude, you guys are usually chasing each other anyway, so just swap footage. Say, hey, thanks for filming me. I need that to go send it to my online guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, academyofskiing.com, guys. Academy of Skiing. So, well, listen, is there anything else out there that you wanted to get out there? Because I know we have to get to a pool party. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a really hard life here tonight. We had powerful words that left us emotional. Now we've got to get changed and go and just mingle and relax in the beautiful. And I will say it's actually beautiful today because it's not 115 degrees because it's September 30th today. Ooh, it's actually International Podcasting Day.
Is it really?
That's actually a thing, and it's actually today. So we are recording on International Podcasting Day. Congratulations, sir.
Boom.
So, yeah, we won't drop these mics, so these are expensive. But is there anything else out there messaging-wise that, since I literally just met you a few hours ago, that we can help get you out there as far as online exposure or whatever?
I just want to encourage each and every listener to realize that you only live once, and the term YOLO is severely abused these days, and it's something that I'm really trying to change from outside the ski industry for everyone, especially for millennials, is realizing that the fact that you only live once means that you should go out and fight every day to do your best job at being yourself. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to make mistakes. It doesn't mean that it's, that you're not going to have rough days or, that perfection is even attainable.
Yeah.
But keeping that in the back of your mind, especially for me, having such a stark contrast on how quickly a light can be snuffed out.
Yeah.
Understanding we were just talking about how you can walk outside and get hit by a car.
Yeah.
There are a number of things that can happen that can take you out of this planet. And so understanding that and understanding that every moment matters, and realizing that you really can make a difference just by being you. And
I could tell you just from hearing everything you're throwing at us that it's funny because we actually normally close out the episodes with my co-host actually giving the final words of the show, and you basically are already doing it perfectly. So way to be an overachiever and proactive. But I love your messaging on a bigger definition behind YOLO, the whole you only live once, because I almost feel like you could probably, after this show, kind of create your own spin-off of it, like something that's unique to you and your brand, because it sounds like, again, I think YOLO gets thrown around too much.
Oh, yeah.
I spent many years living off of the Ernest Hemingway quote, live life to the fullest.
Yep.
And I use that to fuel my fire to create live the fired up epic life, aka live the fuel. So like, hey, great, that's a great statement. I used it for years. Now it's time to create my own piece of that.
Yep.
And then define that to our listeners and to my followers, which is basically what you're doing. It sounds heavily that you truly do believe in YOLO, but let's take it to the next level. So
yeah, totally. And I'm actually in the process of writing a book right now that kind of outlines some of my experiences and memoirs, and from breaking my back to losing friends and the other stuff that we spoke about earlier, that hopefully can encourage people just to understand from my story how I've come to the place that I'm at. Yep. And maybe help them shortcut a couple of the mistakes that I've made, bypass those, and really find a purpose quicker and easier.
I like it, man.
And it isn't, I think it's really easy to theoretically understand stuff. It does take experience to truly understand and to empathize with others. So, it's never going to be an easy life. And you, like I said earlier, you're always going to make mistakes, but it's how you react and deal with those mistakes and those failures, and whether you look at them as an opportunity to grow and an opportunity to get vulnerable with those around you and with yourself and become a better person, or you can use them as an excuse to stay the same, to stay in the same pattern, and to be the same person day in and day out. And
I can tell you, you're talking to the right audience, because there's no excuses allowed on this show. So I tell people all the time, like, we truly do have the choice. It is that people throw around the Carpe Diem, the YOLO, whatever. Guys, like, he's dropping the words to you guys right now. It's like, stop making excuses, take action. I love the fact that you are a millennial, but yet that's the power of being a more of a professional athlete, is that you've unfortunately gotten thrown into a lot more shit than most people do. And it does change your mindset. It does take you to the next level. You probably had some amazing coaches and influencers that helped you get to where you're at mentally now.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the beauty of it, is like, you've already got a strong foundation to really build this new brand, for the Academy of Skiing. I'm excited for you, man. This is really, really cool. So besides the fact we're at this epic conference called Thrive, Make Money Matter, that's also a bonus. So
yep, so epic. Quick shout out. You said, I've had mentors. It's very true. Just a quick shout out to Matt Belair, and he runs a company called Zen Athlete, which is an amazing resource for any athlete to realize their full potential. He's got a book out there. He's an amazing dude. And
you have to get us connected, man. If he's an author and he's got some good words to share, we'll get him on.
And he's got his own podcast as well.
Awesome.
So, that cross-pollination that we were talking about earlier before the podcast, I'll definitely get you in touch with him. He's a powerful, powerful dude. He's definitely very spiritual and has, beliefs that not everyone would share, but his information is practically usable and applicable to any person, but specifically any athlete.
Awesome. We'll definitely link his information in the show notes as well, because anytime we do name dropping, I always make sure everybody gets thrown in the show notes for the blog article. That way he gets a little more exposure at it, plus I gives me an excuse to follow up on who all these people are. So totally. And I appreciate the networking opportunity. That's all I try and do. Every time I bring a new co-host on, I'm going to try and find a way you get connected better. Great, you got somebody else that can come on, maybe help benefit our audience. That's the power of all this type of stuff, is that we just got to keep doing that over and over again, and more people will get to learn from the power of free content, podcasting. That's why I love it. So, All right, guys. So that was Scot Chrisman. That's the academyofskiing.com. Check him out if you want to become a better skier. This is the guy. Okay, he's done way crazier crap than even I have done. So, to our listeners, guys, this is another live episode from Thrive, Make Money Matter, this time in 2017 here at the Hard Rock Casino in Las Vegas. We've got a pool party to go to, and then another whole day of more speakers and powerful content tomorrow. So we've said it before, we'll say it again. Keep living a fired up epic life, and we'll talk to you guys again soon. And you're clear. Congrats on your first podcast.
Thank you, man.